Look at this photograph of a crowded, gridlocked New York City bridge. In August 2003, 50 million people lost power across North America, bringing entire cities to a halt. This graphic breaks down what actually went wrong. A physical grid collapse did not trigger the blackout. A critical alarm system quietly stopped functioning, and there was no secondary mechanism built to detect its silence. Today, we are handing control of our national infrastructure over to autonomous agentic AI. We write theoretical doctrines mapping out how these systems should behave under pressure. But without an independent, continuously running audit mechanism, we repeat the exact error of 2003. A doctrine that cannot be mathematically audited is a claim. You cannot protect national survival with claims. To understand the threat, we have to look at the structural pattern that drove recent AI breaches, like OpenClaw and Moltbook. This diagram illustrates what security researchers called the lethal trifecta. Notice the central intersection labeled structural exposure. If an AI node holds sovereign data, ingests untrusted external content, and has an external communication channel, it is highly vulnerable. You cannot secure a node like this by physically isolating the system or adding backup agents. If an attacker injects malicious instructions into the external telemetry the AI ingests, the AI will execute those instructions on its own authority. To close this governance gap, we use a structured methodology. This chart shows the 4-tier assurance stack, a system designed to mathematically prove an AI is safe before, during, and after it makes high-stakes decisions. Let's examine Layer 1, Upfront Assurance. Before any node joins the mesh, we demand strict Trifecta Exposure Scoring. If a node triggers all 3 properties, the system enforces strict command and content separation, running provenance checks before data reaches the AI's memory. Preemptively blocking adversarial instructions is the only proven method to protect sovereign data access from internal manipulation. Once deployed, we guarantee it follows human instructions using Layer 2, Deployment Time Assurance. The inner ring shows constrained Markov decision processes. This framework translates abstract boundaries into hard mathematical constraint budgets, making the AI physically incapable of formulating plans exceeding these limits. But AIs are prone to specification gaming, following the literal rule while violating the actual purpose. This flowchart details the defense: deliberate divergence testing. We run red team scenarios that artificially force the letter and the spirit of a constraint to conflict. We only trust an AI's intent alignment if it survives these specific adversarial divergence tests prior to live deployment. Layer 3 monitors the system in real time, measuring human integrity density with strict math rather than subjective evaluation. The compliance verification rate checks decisions against logged evidence, while the constraint violation rate tracks hard policy breaches per action. We calculate integrity precisely as it operates. We apply these metrics directly to high-stakes crisis responses through this sovereign override release pipeline. The bottom block highlights the critical circuit breaker. If constraint violations spike during an active override, it triggers an immediate, automatic algorithmic rollback, suspending autonomous authority. By embedding these limits at runtime, we turn passive post-incident logging into an active prevention mechanism. Layer 4 is post-hoc assurance. This is the permanent, forensic truth of the AI's entire lifecycle. We run a 72 integrity audit, anchoring every autonomous decision to a tamper-proof blockchain ledger. The record of the AI's actions is immutable. Let's bring back the assurance stack diagram. Notice the gold feedback loop on the left. The ledger doesn't just archive history. It feeds the incident data directly back into the upfront hazard analysis. A true resilience architecture uses its own forensic records to automatically dictate its future learning protocols. This layered architecture secures the state's economic continuity by ensuring every critical service remains uninterrupted under duress. To realize the massive scale of the resilience dividend, we have to look at the protocol behind the numbers. Finance ministries and sovereign risk insurers do not underwrite a project based on assumed cost avoidance. They price risk according to verifiable proof. Look at how assurance costs actually strengthen the investment case. Providing an audit trail converts theoretical probabilities into bankable facts. transforming a claim into a 69x to 79x return on investment. Doctrine dictates what should happen. Architecture builds the pathways for how it happens. Assurance is the only mechanism that proves it actually did.